What is going on, everyone? How are you doing? I hope you're doing good, because it is good to feel good, and I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas, and also with that, you know, a nice time with friends and family, and also with that, a nice time to reflect on the year that's been, because we're now basically in that period, that interlude period between Christmas and New Year. So yeah, this year's gone very quick, as does each year, which is a bit mad. But yeah, no, this year has just flown by. A lot's happened for me in particular this year, and what I wanted to do with this video is to basically talk about, you know, the year that's been, and, you know, have a few little reflective moments, you know, talk about some things that I've really enjoyed, some of my highlights, and then also talk about a few things that, you know, I haven't particularly enjoyed that I thought, you know what, needs addressing. So yeah, I guess without further ado, let's chat about the year that's been. And also, best to apologise quickly because I got a bit of a hoarse voice. Not me going nay or anything like that, but like my voice has been playing up in the past couple of days and it's not looking good. So what I'm going to do is I may need to drink a few bits of water throughout this video to keep myself hydrated, because there's going to be a lot of talking in this video. So yeah, but anyway, without further ado, let's go on with the video. So I guess we could start where everything good these days starts with, and that is in January. So back in January, I guess I wasn't really quite sure what would be going on in the year, although I did know a few things that are already set in stone. But yeah, so the idea was obviously with each year, you know, you start off the year with a few things that you have in mind, but then also set a few things in motion as the year progresses. So I guess the first real thing of those for me was that I started working out. At the start of January, I decided to sign up for the gym and, you know, keep going regularly. And yeah, that was a big challenge for me. And then later in the month, I announced that I was going to be doing Rough Runner, which I thought to myself, what the hell have I signed up for? But the motivation that I had for signing up was, of course, that my nana at the time had been diagnosed with cancer, and I wanted to do my bit to help out with people with cancer. So sure enough, I started a little fundraiser in which I would be raising money for the Christie, and in the end, for all of that, we raised £1,095.90 for the Christie, which is just, it's incredible. It is like, I didn't expect the amount of donations that I would receive from like customers, colleagues where I work, and also friends and family. But I just thinking about it now, it just makes me feel very humble to know that I did everyone proud that day. And Rough Runner itself, like especially in the months training up for it, I thought to myself, oh, I can't wait to cross that finish line. And honestly, on the day, I thought, you know what, there'll be a few challenges for myself, but I managed to pull myself through. And yeah, the whole experience of Rough Runner was incredible. And I think, even though we're only into the first bit of the video and there's a few other things I want to talk about, Rough Runner was probably my favourite moment of 2018. And yeah, it's just, you know, getting to raise money, getting to train up, and then eventually 6 months later I got invited to the Christie, who were putting on an evening to say thank you for those who had fundraised for them. And I got the chance to meet a lot of, you know, people who had fundraised for them, as well as officials and that from the Christie, and patients, and just, yeah, that was an amazing evening. And like, it was very interesting to hear people's stories, people's experiences with the Christie, and obviously their motivations for fundraising. And happily I can say that for the year that was in 2018, I nearly said 2017 there, which of course was last year, but in the year that was 2018, the Christie managed to raise a whopping £1.7 million, just over that. And yeah, that's an incredible amount just from donations alone. And that money is of course going towards quite a lot of things. So it'll be going towards like funding for new equipment, technology, care for staff and patients. And yeah, that was fun. And I can even remember just right now the announcer on the day, was doing the whole pledge, and at the end it was like, you like it rough, like me, you like it rough, and I can remember laughing along with that. That was a fun moment. Also this year there have been a lot of, like, you know, fun little experiences, I've guessed, that I've gotten up to for myself. I think the first notable of the year was me going to the Prince Charles Cinema in London, where I went to a screening of The Room. For those of you who don't know what The Room is, where the hell have you been? It's probably what a lot of people have said is the best, worst movie of all time. Like, it's in the category where it's so bad that it's good, and like a lot of other nicknames for it. So of course Tommy Wiseau, who is the star writer, producer and director of the film, obviously he released that back in 2003, and you know, a lot of people at the time when it first came out weren't particularly so sure on it. In fact, there was a lot of negativity towards the film when it was first released, but of course over the past 15 years it's built this cult following where just everyone, you know, it's going to see it. I think people watch it ironically, to be honest, like, but they still really enjoy it. They have good times with it. Like, for example, people go to screenings and do stuff like throwing spoons, you know, quoting along with the film. And yeah, I got the chance to go to one of those at the start of the year, or in fact February rather, and I even got to meet Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero, and Tommy even complimented my my tux that I was wearing on the day, and that was a fun experience. And then of course being there in the flesh, attending a screening, and you know, throwing spoons, quoting along with the film. You're tearing me apart, Lisa! That was fun. And then after that, I guess the next experience I had was going to see Imagine Dragons, which I really have wanted to see them for quite some time. In fact, a few years prior, when they were last on tour in the UK, they were playing about November time, I think it was, and I really wanted to go see them, but one, I wasn't able to go because I couldn't get tickets, and two, I was pretty ill on the day. So yeah, I'm kind of glad that I didn't go, because I didn't want to give everyone a kind of bug or anything like that, so I dodged a bullet there, I guess. But a few years after that, I of course went to go finally see them in London, and that was an amazing show. In fact, I didn't even think I'd be able to make it, because I don't know if you recall earlier this year, but there was so much like snow and that, and like everyone, it was basically chaos, and there was a lot of people, I think, who couldn't make it to the show as a result. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer for those who couldn't make it, but it was a fun night. It was K-Flay, who was the opening act, was amazing, and of course Imagine Dragons themselves, you know, pulling out all the stops with the, you know, the best hits, you know, obviously bits from their recent album, which was Evolve. And like even Dan Reynolds, the lead singer, gave quite a few, like, you know, impassionate speeches. One about, you know, gun control in America, you know, he was very passionate about that, and also he gave a talk about depression, which it made me cry actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, no, the show was amazing. You know, I want to go back and relive that. That was a fun night. And then after that, I guess the next thing that I did was I went to go watch WrestleMania. Unfortunately, I didn't go to New Orleans as I had originally planned to, with a few people, because that plan rather unfortunately fell through, and yeah, I missed out on a great little experience there with a group of people for wrestling. But I still went out and watched it. I went to MK11 in Milton Keynes, and I've been going there for the past few years, in fact, and like, again, the atmosphere there is very loud and energetic, and you know, people are always, you know, chanting along with that. And yeah, WrestleMania for the most part was a really good show this year. And then after that, I guess like the next big thing for me, without including Rough Runner, because I've already talked about that, was going to see, I was about to say LA, but no, there was something before LA, and that was going to see Taylor Swift again in Manchester, and that was fun. I mean, I saw her for the first time a few years prior, back at the BST Festival in Hyde Park, and that was a fun show in itself. And I thought to myself, ooh, I wonder what she's gonna do this time round in Manchester. And of course, It was her Reputation World Tour, World Stadium Tour in fact, and yeah, she performed at the Etihad Stadium, which is very awkward for me considering I'm a Man United fan. So yeah, I went along to that, and it was an amazing show. Again, she pulled out all the stops. Her supporting acts, who were Charlie XCX and Camila Cabello, were amazing as well. So that was a fun show. And then we come to LA. So I guess for me, realistically, this was my compromise for not going to WrestleMania in New Orleans this year. So yeah, there was that. If I wasn't gonna go for, you know, this big trip to America earlier in the year, I would still do my annual trip to LA, you know, in the middle of the year. So also having Steven come along for the ride was pretty cool, because I don't know if any of you would recall, but last year he was originally meant to come along along with his other friend, but those plans fell through, and I still powered on through with the trip myself. I even made the most of it, like with my family being there as well. But yeah, no, this year both of us did LA, and even though he was out there only for a week, we still made the most of it. You know, we got there, we went out for dinner, and then the next day we just went a big old explore of LA. And then of course we went down to Anaheim for VidCon. VidCon was interesting because I guess that obviously I've been going to conventions and that for years now, but there's always, I feel like there's always going to be, you know, new things to, you know, do and explore. And yeah, that was fun in itself, I guess. So yeah, that was VidCon, and of course the day at Disneyland, which was also fun, being with Amy, Noelle, Kieran, and yeah, great stuff. Oh, just thinking back to that, like, I think seeing the fireworks each year at Disneyland is like probably one of my personal highlights. So yeah, just good stuff. Then of course I had my second week in LA, which, as I mentioned before, I didn't have anything planned for. So obviously I had a place to stay, but what I would do in that second week in LA was completely up to my own devices, and I sure enough made the most of it. I went out to watch an England match one day, I went out to Griffith Observatory, I hiked up Runyon Canyon, I went to Santa Monica with Amy, and yeah, I guess I did make the most of that, like, during my time there. So that was a load of fun. Then of course I had to come back home to England, and I got greeted to this brand new bedroom. And of course around that time England were playing in the World Cup, and at one point it was almost coming home. Unfortunately it didn't, but it was almost coming home. It was probably, I say probably, it was the best performance in a World Cup we had done since 1990, and like if you look at our track record between then and 1990, like obviously it varies. 1994 we didn't qualify at all. 1998 we made it to the round of 16. 2002, 2006 we made it to the quarterfinals. 2010 we made it to round of 16, and then of course in our last outing in 2014 we got knocked out in the group stage, which, need I remind you, isn't a good thing. So yeah, it was almost coming home, and to quote the 1998 version of Free Lines, it could have been all songs in the street. It was nearly complete, it was almost so sweet. But yeah, maybe it's meant to be one day, but yeah, at one point we could have been reveling in the fact that, you know, a second World Cup for England could just be coming home, but it didn't. And that was a bit of a bummer. But yeah, we're back to our normal lives. It's not like, you know, we're majorly let down by it. I think it's probably one of the best performances England have ever had in the World Cup. So yeah, well done lads. And then after that, me and my family went to go see Bruno Mars at the BST Hyde Park Festival, and that was fun as well. Again, I'm gonna quote it again, saying, you know, he pulled out all the stops with his performances. Like, I think in this day and age that Bruno Mars is probably one of the greatest showmen that's currently going, and he's good, he's brilliant, and I'd always wanted to see him perform live. And especially I remember a couple of years ago when Uptown Funk came out, and like literally I was going along to it each time, and like everyone was like, Ollie, what the hell are you doing? But yeah, no, getting the chance to, you know, see him perform that live in particular, and, you know, go along with it, don't believe me, just watch. It was good. It was very good. And then after that was Summer in the City. So this was my 6th annual Summer in the City, and also in turn 5 years since I attended my first Summer in the City. And it was just, I think one thing I really enjoyed about Sitsi in particular was, again, going on about the whole conventions thing. You know, I've been to many conventions before and there's always, you know, a nice few things to experience from that. But I think the highlight of Sitsi for me this year was getting the chance to hang out with quite a lot of my friends. So there was Stephen, there was Kieran, there was Josh, Coral, Becca, Kim and Izzy. We were all together on the Saturday night. We had a sesh, we filmed some collabs, and yeah, that was all well and good. And I even remember waking up with a hangover the following morning, and I don't even remember having a moment where, you know, we were all just sitting down outside the Novotel, and I can remember, just remember saying how, like, I don't really get the chance to see you guys a lot, but, you know, hanging out in, you know, places like this really makes me happy. And I even remember crying. In fact, Coral, you made me cry at one point, like, just saying, you know, how we're all there for each other, and that, yeah. Damn it, Coral, you made me cry, alright? But yeah, summer in the city was great. It was fun. And yeah, and Coral made me cry. And then I guess it's now at this point where I address, you know, the kind of like absence that I had from YouTube in that time. So in the space of 3 months, I had a quiet period on YouTube, and I guess the main reason why I wasn't uploading was at the start of September, my grandpa had passed away. So I think we were all in my family a bit hit by this. I say a bit, we were hit by it pretty hard. In fact, I think one thing that really hit me hard, as I mentioned in my video last month, was that I think the kicker for me was between the last time I saw him and the very last time I saw him in 5 years, was that I never got the chance to see him in that time. So yeah, that made me sad knowing, you know, I saw him in his last days. That's something I can never take away from myself. You know, he was, even in the face of danger, he was optimistic, he put on a brave face. And yeah, it just, in that time, you know, I thought to myself, keep quiet, don't push myself into making videos again, like, you know, when I'm not in the right place emotionally, and come back at a time where I think, you know what, I'll be very happy again. In that period, I did go out of my way to, you know, make myself happy again, I guess. In fact, literally a few days after my grandpa's funeral, I was down in London for Progress Wrestling's Wembley Arena show, and of course that was going to be one of the biggest wrestling shows of the year. So yeah, I attended that show, and it was incredible. It was just an amazing showcase of talent in the British independent scene, and it just, oh, it was fun. Oh, I got so many good memories from it. But yeah, no, it was an amazing show. It really did cheer me up after what had been an emotional few days for me and my family. So that was really good. It was a feel-good moment for me, I guess, this year, and, you know, something that I guess I can, you know, look back on in, you know, in enjoyment, and have a good time reflecting on it, about how it really cheered me up. I did also talk to Jim Smallman at another Progress show literally a month later, saying these exact same things, you know, saying how, you know, that show really cheered me up. And I also managed to thank him, not just him, but also Glenn and John, who also run Progress, and also the talent and crew who were part of that show, and just, yeah, they knocked it out of the bag, and I really look forward to seeing more from Progress in the future. And then also in this quiet period that I had from YouTube, I turned 22. It was my birthday back in November, and we had a really good time celebrating. I say good time celebrating. We went out for a cheeky Nando's, because of course you do. But yeah, no, it was nice to be with the family as usual for my birthday. I think for one thing that I've thought I'd mention about my birthday, like, in the past few years, is I haven't gone on, you know, full guns blazing and, you know, organised like a massive party or anything, because, like, one, it is a nice thing to, you know, organise and get together with your friends, but then two, it's also a bit of a hassle to organise. So, you know, I don't want to put it upon myself to, you know, make something great out of my birthday. Like, it's not, I guess for me in the last few years, it hasn't been some big you know, occasion for me, like, to celebrate. I mean, I know obviously it's my birthday and I want to celebrate, but I don't make that big of a deal out of it, I guess, these days, where I don't know what I'm saying, but I kind of saying that I just, you know, want to just have, you know, a nice quiet one and, you know, be with friends and family, I guess. And then of course in December, which is of course this month, in fact literally was a few weeks ago, I was off on another adventure again. Me and Stephen went to Dubai for a week, and that was all kinds of fun. So back earlier, I think it was around March time, like me and Stephen were in discussions and we were like, oh, we should go somewhere in December, you know, for a little getaway. And the idea was that he wanted to go to Dubai, and also me having previously been to Dubai twice in 2011, I thought to myself, that's gonna be fun to be back there actually. So it was very fun being out there, you know, getting to experience a few things I had experienced already, as well as a few things I hadn't experienced, like, say for example, the desert safari, dune bashing, the quad biking where I nearly killed myself, going at the Burj Khalifa, and a lot of other things. It was all very good, and also getting to meet a few people out there, especially including Yusuf, who I've known for a few years up until this point, and it was cool to meet him as well. And I'm sure we'll be able to meet, you know, when he's in London maybe, or when I'm next in Dubai. So yeah, that's fun. And yeah, this year's been all kinds of fun. I don't know why I'm trying to phrase there, but yeah, this year's been a pretty cool one. And then obviously looking forward to the year ahead, what can we expect from next year? So let's dive ourselves in. So I can announce a few things that are happening next year. Of course I will be doing Rough Runner again next year, in Oxfordshire in May, and then also another Rough Runner, which I haven't announced which one I'm doing as of yet, but I will be doing another one at some point next year in 2019. I'm meeting up with my mates towards the end of January, because like, I feel like this year we've been very busy, and like we haven't really had the chance to, you know, meet up with one another. I guess Sitsi was really like the real long time that we had with one another, so it's gonna be nice to, you know, reunite in January and, you know, basically we're going to London for the weekend, and, you know, we're staying in London and that, and I think it's just gonna be nice, you know, spending time with one another, catching up, you know, having some new fun experiences. It's gonna be good. And then travel wise next year, I've got a few things already lined up. So I can officially announce that in March I will be going to Morocco, and I don't know why I said it like that. I'm going to Morocco. Let's just play it like that, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to Morocco for a few days in March, so it's gonna be me and my family, just, you know, have a nice few days there and relax. And also, fun fact, it'll be the first time that I'll be going to Africa, so I'm guessing on the plane there I'll be singing along to Toto, because it's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you, and there's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. It's gonna take some time to do the things we never have. Do. I think my big trip that I have planned for next year is that I'm going to New York. So I guess I will be missing out on LA as a result. So, but don't fear not, because I'm gonna make the most of my time in New York. And also, I am happy to announce this, but I have booked a WrestleMania ticket, and I'm officially going to WrestleMania. So especially after earlier this year not being able to go to WrestleMania as a result of, you know, that plan falling through, and compared to next year where I've booked my ticket, I've booked my flights, booked my place of accommodation, and yeah, we're gonna get New York off the ground and we're gonna be going to WrestleMania. I wish there was a WrestleMania sign that was there in the background which I could point at, so yeah, just to add dramatic effect. But yeah, I guess from that, I haven't really got much else planned for 2018, so I guess we'll see how the year plays out, and yeah, let's have fun. Here's to a really good 2019, and I hope you guys have also had a really good 2018, so do leave a comment in some of your favourite bits, and, you know, some things that you're really looking forward to for 2019, so yeah. So I guess I shall see you in 2019 as a result. So of course I will be having my end of year montage video going out on New Year's Eve, as is tradition. and I guess my first video after that will be in the new year. So yeah, I guess until then, farewell, have a good rest of the year, and I'll see you in 2019. And also at this point I'm going to leave you with some advice, and that is to enjoy yourself, stay safe, and make the most of every opportunity that comes your way. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.